The rain poured relentlessly as Ivy Warren stepped out of the taxi, her lightweight jacket doing little to shield her from the downpour. The elegant facade of the country club loomed before her, pristine and unyielding against the elements. As she hurried across the parking lot, her sneakers splashed through shallow puddles, soaking her jeans further. Her hair, once neatly tied back, was now a mass of damp curls clinging to her neck and face. Inside, the lobby was a stark contrast to the storm outside. Polished wooden floors gleamed under soft, ambient lighting, and the air was cool and dry. Staff members in their crisp uniforms moved with a practiced finesse, going about their duties without a hair out of place. Their eyes, discreet but perceptive, followed Ivy as she made her entrance, noting her drenched state and casual attire. Whispers floated across the lounge, judgments passed without a word spoken. Standing in the middle of the lobby, Blake, an elite golf pro known throughout the club for his charisma and sharp wit, caught sight of Ivy. His eyes traveled over her with a playful, sarcastic tilt to his lips. To him, she appeared out of place, like a drifter washed in from the storm. His approach was smooth and confident. "Hey there, miss," Blake called out, voice tinged with mockery. "When you're done playing in the rain, could you do us a favor and collect the stray balls on the range? We wouldn't want any mishaps now, would we?" The request hung in the air, heavy with condescension. Ivy paused, her eyes meeting his with silent resolve. "Of course," she replied smoothly, her words free of the bite he anticipated. Then she turned and walked away, leaving Blake and his amused smirk behind. Ivy walked across the clubhouse, maintaining her poise as she passed polished tables and overstuffed armchairs. The low hum of conversation and the clinking of glasses filled the air, but she remained immune to any further scrutiny. She moved with purpose through the expansive hallway, a reassuring voice repeating in her mind that soon she'd be speaking her truth and claiming her space. Despite her soaked attire, Ivy carried with her an aura that demanded a kind of respect, though Blake had obviously missed that cue. She could feel eyes on her back, the suspense of curiosity lingering as staff and club members wondered where this seemingly misfit figure belonged. Ascending a quiet staircase, Ivy pushed through to the HR suite at the top floor. The office of the club's long-standing HR director, Ms. Eleanor Gage, was tucked away insidiously at the end of the corridor, with its door slightly ajar. As Ivy stepped in, the warmth of the room enfolded her, a stark contrast to the cold reception downstairs. Eleanor Gage looked up from her meticulous desk, eyes crinkling with genuine warmth as she immediately stood to greet Ivy. "Ivy, finally, you're here." Her voice was laced with eager relief, as if she'd been awaiting this moment with bated breath. Ivy returned the smile, shaking off the chill of the rain. "I'm here, Eleanor." Eleanor gestured her to sit, offering a steaming cup of tea, which Ivy accepted gratefully. The HR director sat back, her expression beaming with approval. "I can't tell you how thrilled we all are to have you on board as our new club president. Your reputation precedes you." Taking a sip of the tea and feeling its warmth seep into her, Ivy nodded, a hint of humility coloring her response. "It's an honor to be here. I'm really looking forward to ushering in some positive changes." Their conversation continued in a cadence that felt both respectful and full of anticipation. Eleanor outlined some of the club's current challenges and aspirations, their goals for expansion, and how they hoped Ivy would steer the ship toward a brighter horizon. Ivy listened intently, assimilating every detail, her mind already turning over ideas and strategies. Meanwhile, back in the main lounge area, Blake stood by the bar recounting his earlier encounter, retelling it as a humorous anecdote meant to highlight his own self-importance among club peers. And there she was, just dripping and clueless. With any luck, she'll manage not to drown out there whilst picking those balls. His companions chuckled politely, entertained by his tale but more out of habit than genuine amusement. Blake basked in the moment, unaware of the exact unfolding developments that would soon layer irony over his casual hubris. Having finished their initial discussion, Eleanor and Ivy moved on to discussing logistics for Ivy's official introduction to the staff. A meeting had been scheduled later that afternoon, intended to bring everyone in sync with their new leadership and vision. "Do you have everything you need for the transition?" Eleanor inquired, well aware of the importance of a smooth start for Ivy's presidency. Ivy leaned back, the hint of a conspiratorial smile playing on her lips. Aside from perhaps a change of clothes, she jested lightly, I think I'm ready for what's ahead. I'm curious to see how the team operates day to day. Speaking of clothes, Eleanor interjected with a chuckle, I can show you to our amenities where you can freshen up before the meeting if you like. I know first impressions are often based on presentation. Rising from her seat, Ivy shook her head kindly. I'll keep that option in mind for another day, but for now, I think I'll allow them to see me just as I am. It might offer a more authentic resolve of character than the image they hope to craft. As they prepared to rejoin the rest of the club, Ivy felt a sense of readiness within her, the anticipation of unveiling her true role underway. Eleanor accompanied her to the meeting room, where increasing excitement from the gathered staff buzzed softly like the distant rumble of summer storms. With a significant number of employees now mingling in the elegantly appointed hall, Ivy was ushered discreetly to a position beside the club's general manager near the front of the room. The manager, a dignified gentleman with a neatly trimmed beard and a demeanor of careful authority, exchanged pleasantries with Ivy, masking any subtle surprise at her current damp wardrobe. I dare say our club is in for enlightening times under your guidance, Ms. Warren, he said as he gestured toward the podium. As the gathering commenced, whispers swept through the room much like the growth of dawn's first light. Vested interests peaked, curiosity transforming into attentive silence when the club manager cleared his throat to commence the introductions. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, he began, today marks the beginning of a new chapter for our beloved country club. It is with great pleasure that I introduce Ms. Ivy Warren, who will be assuming the role of our new president. As Ivy rose from her seated position, Blake entered the room, tardy from his display of entertaining bravado at the bar. His entrance drew Ivy's gaze, an embodiment of timing and fate, her eyes meeting his with an unwavering steadiness that pulled his smug disposition into an abrupt, awkward halt. The room's collective attention was now fixed on Ivy, as she stood there with rainwater still drying on her clothes, exuding the unique poise of someone comfortably in command. The clubhouse, brimming with its members' expectations and inquisitive eyes, awaited the unveil of the woman underestimated merely moments before. Her heart swelled with purpose as she prepared to speak, the glistening residues of rain a testament to her persevering journey. The opportunity had arrived not merely to claim her position, but to transform the very fabric of the club's essence with roots of sincerity, leadership, and the undeniable prestige she embodied. Ivy stood before the gathered staff and members, the lights of the meeting room casting a warm glow over the crowd. Curiosity and skepticism hung in the air as they waited to see what this dripping newcomer would say. The club's general manager stepped forward again, clearing his throat as a prelude to the official introduction. Thank you all for gathering on such short notice. As we navigate towards a new era, it is my honor to present Ivy Warren as the new president of our club. Her wealth of experience in sports management and transformative leadership is exactly what we need to guide us forth. He gestured graciously towards Ivy, cueing her to address the assembly. There was a murmur of approval, courtesy claps hinting at polite interest. Ivy took a breath, composing her expression into one of thoughtful authority. Thank you, everyone, for the warm welcome, began Ivy, her voice infused with the resilient energy of someone poised to turn perception on its head. I'm eager to embark on this journey with all of you. I know I may not seem what you've imagined, and not due to today's weather, but I assure you, this opportunity represents everything I've worked towards. As Ivy spoke, Blake's earlier bravado crumbled, giving way to disbelief as the realization settled heavily. He watched, hidden at the room's periphery, apprehension twisting his previous composure. He recalled Ivy's casual response to his thoughtless directive, the faint aftermath of his words now echoing with irony. Ivy continued, her tone embodying a natural blend of authority and approachability. Understanding the intricacies of this place is vital for us to thrive together. My intention is to observe, to learn, and eventually to refine our practices with the utmost integrity. I am here not just to lead but to join this community in both challenge and triumph. A consensus seemed to crystallize among the gathered audience. This was a tactical leader who prioritized substance over perception, her damp attire now fading into the background as irrelevant. As Ivy paused, the gravity of her sincerity observed in several nods of quiet approval. Taking a moment to reflect, Ivy added, I apologize, my appearance isn't quite what I meant for our first meeting. Today I rushed straight from a non-profit tournament benefiting regional youth golf, a cause close to my heart, which ran a bit over, especially given the rain. A gentle laughter rippled through the room, melting some initial furor. Shifting focus, Ivy gestured to adjacent placards displaying the club's mission and community commitments. It's essential that our club not only symbolize elite sport but also stands as a pillar of inclusivity, development, and excellence. My prior experiences will guide this mission. Having led teams through similar transformations, I've seen firsthand the power of unity. Glancing toward the club's senior members, she accented the universal respect such heritage deserved. It takes all of us working together, honoring our traditions, whilst embracing necessary change to uphold this club's esteemed reputation within the golfing community. At this proclamation, Ivy's eyes briefly met Blake's. A noticeable flush warmed his cheeks, a testament to undeniable embarrassment melding with realization. Each hesitation of line unuttered lingered at the corners of Ivy's lips, gently softening her presence without diminishing resolution. As Ivy transitioned back into her prepared remarks, a dip in her cadence implied future openings for individual voices, the kind of diverse feedback she valued for collective progress. Unknowable to many, in that moment, admiration for the level-headedness reflected in her poise grew in the hearts attending. Blake's emotional roulette steered actionlessly from sheepish regret to grateful relief at Ivy's composed professionalism that omitted singling him out publicly in disparagement. Echoes of laughter and perceived jests were now pebbles tossed into distances beyond return, clattering noisily on memories urged toward discretion. Concluding, Ivy reinforced her commitment to visiting daily operations, studying both the fortitudes and complexities therein. Her admission of priorities served to plant seeds of understanding, hours where she'd witness life within and out with windows of privilege. Returning to her seat, Ivy relinquished the stage with dignified modesty. The club's general manager, resuming his oratory charge, wrapped proceedings with echoes of gratitude directed toward Ivy's anticipated contribution. Polite applause swelled, mixing tradition with newfound eagerness. Staff and members rose to mingle, a undercurrent of discourse evaluating, aligning opinions, and re-envisioning club identity through Ivy's emergent perspective. Trust budded, hesitant yet courageous in its fervor to flourish. Ivy's potential for impact energized many in their dreams for enhanced vitality. Meanwhile, in Blake's mind there lay an unvoiced promise to recalibrate. An innate golfer at heart, mapping each strategic shot anew, Blake resituated life's challenges into dynamic play deserving false presence merely as instrumental, rather than definitive, aspect of aspiration. As some trickled forth to greet the new president, conversations began echoing appointments she hoped to revisit once re-established. Amidst exchanges of grateful overtures, mutual curiosity brightened perceptions once shrouded in cloaks of uncertainty. Contentment kindled Ivy's spirit, buoyed by the precursory signs of encouragement. Today marked not just the culmination of dreams fulfilled, but also the genesis of possibilities unforeseen until that very moment. Her resolve strengthened, echoed by vigor of souls she'd unified as vessels heading toward meaningful horizons. Their newfound leader, Ivy Warren, would shepherd them, not merely exploring the realm between familiarity and transformation, but nurturing both tradition and innovation so they might persevere, not just endure, amidst the prestigious greens of life. As the echoes of applause faded and the meeting dispersed, Ivy lingered briefly at the podium, savoring the satisfaction of a successful introduction. The staff and members filtered back to their respective roles, leaving her with a moment to collect her thoughts in the echoing silence of the now empty room. Ivy decided to tour the facilities, observing the day-to-day operations of the club firsthand. With each step across the manicured grounds, she assessed both the beauty and efficiency of the space, imagining ways she might enhance the experience for everyone involved. The rain had finally ceased, leaving behind a fresh, earthy scent that invigorated her senses. Back inside the clubhouse, she stopped at the sunlit dining area. The layout was opulent yet inviting, tables artistically set with fine china awaiting the flurry of lunch guests. It was a reminder of the club's legacy, a commitment to luxury and class. She sensed the importance of preserving this ambience while fostering an atmosphere of openness and inclusion. As she moved through the halls, Ivy encountered a cluster of staff members. Their expressions mixed eagerness with trepidation, as if waiting to see how this new leader would engage with them. Ivy approached with a friendly demeanor, eager to connect beyond formalities. "Good afternoon," Ivy greeted warmly. "Thank you all for your hard work today. I'm Ivy, continuing from where we left off early, I expect, and it's wonderful to begin meeting each one of you." A woman from catering, her expression curious, asked, "How are you finding the day so far, Ms. Warren?" "First impressions and all." "Quite eventful," Ivy responded with a smile, her gaze genuine, but every bit as rewarding. "We have a phenomenal team here, and I'm excited to see what we can accomplish together." The group visibly relaxed, warmth replacing the nervous energy in the air. Engaged in conversation, Ivy gracefully transitioned through the topics of daily routines and personal interests, her attentive approach charming her listeners into mutual companionship woven with aspirations. Among those present stood Tom, a respected groundskeeper. Keenly observing Ivy, Tom ventured, "Changes usually mean good things, but sometimes it feels like they come out of nowhere too fast for some of us to keep up." Nodding, Ivy replied with assurance, "I value your thoughts, Tom. My intention is to gradually introduce changes, respecting the rich history of this club while adapting to ensure sustainability for future generations. Our growth should enrich, not overwhelm." This sentiment resonated broadly, offering insight into her leadership ethos, transformative yet tempered by understanding. Here was a person who sought to lead without uprooting, tenacious in crafting harmony between progress and reverence. As conversations unfolded, Ivy's backstory unfolded as well. She shared her experiences in the sports management realm, having led significant initiatives that brought visibility to women's and youth sports on international platforms. Her reputation of expertly navigating diverse, multicultural arenas punctuated her narrative. She revealed how champions had been inspired by unique spaces she'd designed and how fostering communities passionate about sport had driven her to success. The conversation naturally turned to the values she held dear: humility, respect, and that everyone's voice mattered regardless of stature. A younger assistant, unusually brave, asked, "Why the simplicity, though? Forgive my curiosity, but doesn't leadership often carry a code of, well, presentation?" Light laughter brimmed over Ivy's response, seeing the question genuine rather than pointed. "A fair question," she acknowledged. "You'll come to notice I place high regard on actions over appearances. Today was no exception. Though I was rain-drenched, I wanted my wet footsteps to signal more authenticity than any mere varnish." Appreciating her candor, smiles extended across the room, admiration glistening within half-lit eyes as Ivy described her morning journey from the charity event. Her active participation in community golf drives underscored her belief that the spirit of generosity anchored meaningful leadership. Meeting by meeting, room by room, Ivy progressed seamlessly through spaces tethering business with bliss. Respect coalesced in context and each recollection shared felt symbiotic, the club's accolades tied intricately with future aspirations aiming toward innovation without tangled encumbrances. Sidebar conversations grew earnest, questions rooted in genuine intrigue abounded. What were Ivy's thoughts on expanding women's programs, accommodating differing skill levels, tackling staff development with equal fervor as play excellence? For such questions, Ivy answered with enthusiasm, embracing each debate as an opportunity to involve and empower. Elsewhere, word of Ivy's demeanor and perspective on open leadership spread faster than shadows across greens flecked golden by parting clouds. Whispers suggested agility that permeated appreciation, voices now investing hope in challenges of forgotten past adopted anew through reinvigorated spirit. This renewed camaraderie was palpably different from the acerbic humor that had previously centered spaces surrounding Blake's interactional wit. Herein lay the productive equivalent of compassion-channeled long-term versus temporary titillation of tonight's supper punchline. Meanwhile, Blake stewed amidst pent-up thoughts, wrestling motives into thoughtful introspection. Never vain entirely in his existence, realization of reputation tethered with incident sat heavily upon shoulders hewn strong from countless drives aiding league wins throughout tenure. Yet even so, Blake recognized a different kind of weight inhering within Ivy's aura, one liberated from pretensions and discordant smugness hitherto convinced his concepts uncontested. In ways unspoken, Ivy's leadership taught as she walked. The afternoon grew softer, golden shafts dimming into amber evening where work concluded amongst handshakes, striving smiled notes loyal lives. Out there, on land awaiting tomorrow's activities, a change in the air resonated empowerment ensuring strides borne aloft atop clearer horizons. Through every graceful interaction, Ivy had begun transforming first impressions into lasting impressions, setting the precedent for collaborative progress presently and for times beyond reasonable estimate. That evening, the sun finally broke through the heavy clouds, casting golden rays across the manicured grounds of the club. Ivy felt the slow unwinding of the day's events as she settled into the club's formal dining room for a celebratory dinner arranged in her honor. The space was grand yet intimate, with its finely set tables and flickering candlelight complemented by the rhythm of soft piano music. Attendees engaged each other with renewed warmth. Today's precedents of open leadership had indeed sparked change. Raising her glass, Ivy joined the general manager in a toast to new beginnings, harmony, and collective success. Around her, staff and members mirrored the gesture, affirming their allegiance and faith in her leadership with enthusiasm. Surrounded by this newfound camaraderie, she felt assurance replace any earlier rain-soaked nerves. Conversation flowed easily, the mood mellow yet imbued with a celebratory undercurrent. Somewhere amidst the laughter and mingling, Ivy noticed Blake standing a short distance away, looking somewhat distant. His demeanor, usually self-assured, was punctuated now by pensiveness, a contemplative solitude despite the bustling backdrop. Ivy excused herself from her table and made her way over to him, crossing the room with an unhurried grace. As she approached, Blake shifted uncomfortably but held his ground, his mind a tangle of emotions he had yet to fully organize. "Ivy," Blake greeted with an attempt at his usually confident smile, but it wavered, hinting at sincerity beneath. "I wanted to congratulate you. Today was, well, you made quite an impression." "Thank you, Blake," Ivy replied, measuring her words with kindness. "It means a lot, especially coming from you. I realized today was unexpected on many levels." Blake nodded, looking down at his drink as though searching its depths for reflection. "You held your own impressively. I admire how you managed everything with such dignity, even when I was," he hesitated. Ivy held his gaze, encouraging honesty. "Even when you misjudged my role here," she finished gently, no malice in her voice. "Yes," he sighed, taking that admission as significant closure. His shoulders relaxed slightly. "I've been thinking, I've let my assumptions cloud my judgment more than once. I'm really sorry for how I treated you earlier. It wasn't respectful." His apology felt genuine, prompting Ivy to respond with empathy. "Acknowledgement is the first step forward, Blake. We all misread situations at times. What's important is learning from them." She offered a reassuring smile. "Besides, I sensed your heart's in the right place underneath it all. We can move past this. Collaboration, after all, is key." Blake seemed to sit with her words for a moment, new respect blossoming, laid bare an acknowledgement of personal growth enabled by humility cultivated throughout the arduous day. "You're setting a high bar for all of us, Ivy, one that I'm beginning to understand better," Blake admitted, newfound conviction strengthening his voice. "If ever you need support with the golf programs here or anything else, consider me an ally in this new chapter." The sincerity within his offer struck a chord, prompting Ivy to reach out and lightly squeeze his arm in gratitude. It was a symbolic closing of the divide that circumstances had imposed, a chance to work collectively for the future they were both invested in. With the evening drawing to a gentle close, she noted the relaxation in the air. The day's lessons and revelations wove through the room like gentle threads uniting experiences and aspirations alike. The adverse weather that began Ivy's inaugural was long dispelled both externally and from feints of interpersonal estrangement. Her leadership solidified, accepted and heralded by those she peers alongside. As dusk deepened into purple twilight, Ivy mingled with staff and members, sharing conversations that varied from mundane to transformative. Laughter and warmth accompanied each discussion, cementing intentions to bolster the community they cherished. Nearing the end of the night, Ivy took a reflective stroll through the club's peaceful corridors, allowing herself some solitude to process the day's significant progress. The position she'd assumed was not merely to guide with authority but to resonate integrity amongst the myriad of personalities and aspirations surrounding her. With each passing encounter, Ivy felt deeply assured about her decision to embrace this opportunity. The brief encounters with Rain-Drenched humility and Blake's evolving acknowledgement underscored her early efforts. As she reached the club's entrance, she paused, taking in the night air kissed cool by recent rain, heart buoyed by harmony in preparation for what lay ahead. She knew every day beyond this record would mirror today's essence, a continuous expedition through challenges and triumph, each vital to leading boldly and compassionately. Finally, Ivy turned to head back inside, perceiving resilient light within those places even beyond extinguishing candlelight. Her course charted, effacing prejudice by encouraging engagement and understanding. Today had taught her she was not alone in this resolve. The club was filled with people willing to lend their hands and hearts in furthering its collective legacy. And tomorrow would dawn new, Ivy Warren steady and sure-footed amidst a world awaiting its guiding stars.